Hello, everybody. My name is Josiah Melesio. I am a 13-year-old 3D printing nerd, and I create masterpieces just like this guy and everything right here. I've been 3D printing for 3 years of my life since I was 10 years old, and this is all thanks to the company called AnchorMake with their AnchorMake M5 3D printer. This 3D printer has the best features of any that I've ever used because it's much more powerful and smarter than a classic Ender 3 3D printer and way more smarter than your classic paper printer that you have at home. Because this thing, if you don't know how a 3D printer works, it heats the filament up, which is a kilogram, it's a certain kind of plastic, through a 220 degrees Celsius nozzle and puts it onto a 60 degrees Celsius 3D print bed, cooling the model as it gets higher and higher, finishing up the model. If you don't know what a kilogram is, this guy took around a kilogram of 2 spools to make, and a kilogram is 22 Kit Kat bars, 5 iPhones, or 1 tub of ice cream. Yeah, this is what goes on the 3D printer every single day I use it. And in order to make things like these Iron Man helmets and flexible toys like these guys, I use the modeling softwares like Fusion 360, Autodesk Tinkercad, and Blender, and even Photoshop. And the reason I use Photoshop is because you can turn a 2D sketch into a 3D model. Like this guy right here, the Dummy 13, his foot, his head, his arms, his sword was all once a 2D sketch that was then extruded upwards and with ball joints and put together until you can get a model that's moving like this. Because it's like clay in the computer. Because when you're working with clay, you have a cube or a cylinder or something that you then move around until you're satisfied with the way it looks. That's the same way with 3D modeling, except it's in the computer something and you move it up until it works and you're satisfied with it, and you create stuff like these flexi toys right here that you see on screen. There are hundreds of different models with the ball joints going back and forth and in and outside of each other that just move around the way that they're designed to. And this is the Dummy 13, like I said. And on the left side of the screen, you see what it originally starts as, just a bunch of pieces on your desk or on your floor in your bedroom. But then you can turn it into this masterpiece, something that can't be created like anything else with paper or something. And you can just move around the joints, like up and down, and pose them, and make stop motions and movies with these things. And I love the way that these things move around, and these are helping me create a prosthetic limb one day. You might be wondering, why do I have the dream to create a prosthetic limb? And that's because I always saw the smile that was put on people's faces when they had a prosthetic limb, when they noticed that they could move their arm or their leg the way it was intended to be moved. Again, on the left-hand side, you see the Dummy 13's arm, and on the right-hand side, you see the real deal, the real prosthetic arm. And the way that they both look really similar in terms of you have a joint right here in the arm and it moves back and forth, and then you can move the limb naturally. But you can't just do that with 3D printing. You need to bring things in like a Raspberry Pi where you can then route the wires to the mind. And like with the arm, you have a wire that works as a vein or a nerve going to the mind, and it's telling it, because we don't think when we want to move our arms. We just do it. It's natural. But when they want to do and move their arms, there's going to be the wire of the Raspberry Pi thinking, I need to move my arm. Okay, move it up. Move it back down. And this is a real case and a real scenario of a prosthetic in use in the movie Dolphin Tale, because the dolphin was dying from not being able to move without its tail because it had lost it. So then with 3D modeling and 3D printing, they were able to create a model for a tail so the dolphin was able to live life to the fullest. This is the industrial-sized 3D printer and filament that I'm going to need to create these prosthetics with the movable joints and everything one day. And this is where I want to get to. This is my dream. But right now, I have to start somewhere lower. And I'm selling these prosthetic, or not prosthetics, these flexi toys and these Dummy 13s at vendor fairs to gain that experience with people and be able to learn how to design and create stuff with prosthetics. And it doesn't just end at Dummy 13s or flexi toys or prosthetics. It goes into the movie industry by creating something like Iron Man's helmet or C-3PO's red arm or Wakanda tech from all the Marvel movies, the Infinity Gauntlet. There's a lot of stuff that's made with 3D printing and even animatronics by putting that Raspberry Pi that I talked about earlier into the 3D model of a suit. You can then create stuff like Jaws and E.T. and even stuff from theme parks like the dinosaurs. You can create anything. It's unlimited possibilities. And as you can see, 3D printing has not just had an impact in my life, but an impact in the world itself. And one day, I want to become part of that impact. So I want to thank you guys so much. One more time, Josiah Melesio, 13 years old, 3D printing nerd, and I'm out of here.